everyone, my name is Oroma MP Reynolds. Welcome to my YouTube channel called MSR Legal Oroma. I am a special education attorney based in New York State. I have offices in Queens and Long Island, but I service families throughout the state and offer consultations to anyone who has a need for special education information, knowledge of options, and of course general ideas about advocacy and how best to advocate for your child's special needs, particularly around education. That's definitely my passion and the primary focus of my law practice. So every Friday evening, hopefully between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I do highlight a specific development, if there is one, in the world of education policy with an eye towards the needs and concerns of special needs parents. And so we know special needs parents, it's a very broad and vague term and encompasses a variety of disabilities and needs and of families, and so I use that term broadly as parents who have a child with a need, a specialized need for special education or state benefits that target children with disabilities. And so I have my website up right here, www.msrlegal.org, and I'm just going to toggle to the link to my blog. So about a year and maybe 4 months ago, once the pandemic shutdowns occurred, I started a blog. I titled it Special Needs Parenting and the Coronavirus, and it was meant to be a compilation of various topics in the realm of special education law and advocacy and special education rights. And the purpose was to kind of show how vast a field it is. It's I think a lesser known area of law, but one that is quite complex. And if you're a parent navigating a special education system, you know that very well, how complicated and complex the understanding your child's rights and advocating for them can be. So this week, at least coming out of New York State, there was a revision to guidance issued by the Office of Children and Family Services, which runs our child care systems, our daycares, and also, of course, our State Department of Health. And so what happened was there was this outcry about requiring toddlers from age 2 to 5 to wear masks in daycare settings, including summer camps and other forms of child care, licensed child care settings. So not surprisingly, after the uproar, the state revised its mandates, and now instead of requiring the masks for children within that age range, 2 to 5, they are encouraging it, which had been the practice all along, I guess, since the pandemic began. So for me, as a special needs advocate, as a special education parent, it does beg the question about what school districts are doing, because we know these are two somewhat separate entities, the child care system and the educational system, although we know that for preschools sometimes those two systems do overlap at times. But it will be interesting to see how forcefully or not forcefully mask mandates are put in place, whether there'll be anything different for school districts, especially now that districts across the country are moving to in-person full-time learning and shortening the distance requirements from 6 feet to 3 feet, whether school boards are going to require the mandates, especially in this, particularly young group. So that's definitely something to keep on your radar. And another point that I mentioned in this blog is actually the fact that some districts like New York City will be doing away with the all remote option. They'll be doing away with the 100% virtual option. So that is, that's it's welcome news for a lot of families who had trouble helping their child facilitate computer-based instruction. But I also know there are some families whose children really benefited from being home with them and getting that one-to-one attention that luckily that parent was able to provide to their child. So, if you are a family that fits in that category of really wanting a continuation of remote learning because it was effective and because it met your child's specific, special education needs, that's definitely something that MSR Legal, my firm, is looking at and looking at creative strategies within the law on how to maintain those programs, in specific instances. So I encourage everyone to read my blog post this evening and book a consultation. You can click the little purple button on the right hand side of the screen, and from here you can contact us with your question and setting up a consultation virtually. So just a reminder, I do have dozens and dozens of blog posts on various topics within the world of special education. I'm just scrolling through the first page, but there's certainly something for everyone. And like I mentioned earlier, the world of special needs advocacy and special education law is very, very broad and very complex, and it does help sometimes to have an advocate and often to have an attorney by your side, so you're not entering into these meetings or making sort of these very significant decisions in your child's life alone. So thanks for joining me today. This was just a short episode, as they all are likely going to be on Friday evenings, just highlighting whether it's my latest blog post or any other interesting development that has come out of the world of education in the past week, with, of course, a particular eye to how that policy development impacts you as a special needs parent. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend, a happy Memorial Day, and hopefully we'll see you next Friday for the next